Welcome back. Well, the migrant camp in Del Rio might be gone, but the problems continue. We've got 200,000 plus people coming to our Texas border every month. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas admitted yesterday that 1 in 5 illegal immigrants arriving at the border have, quote, some kind of an illness. This while White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki knocks Republicans going to the border. Watch this.
For all of those Republicans who are standing at the border and giving speeches about how broken the system is, why don't you join us and be a part of the solution instead of relying on speeches? Because we can work together and get immigration reform passed.
Joe Concha, that is just rich. Work with Democrats on the border. Your thoughts on what you just heard from Jen Psaki?
And the first thing that any logical, sober, sane, I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat, person would do is make sure that the border is secure. That is step one, always. And we saw it under the previous administration, under Donald Trump, that this crisis was something that was very much manageable in terms of migrant crossings. Now we have an open border, and you see the result. If Democrats aren't willing to at least do that, Mayorkas said, no, we're against the wall, it's against who we are, then basically that's not a good start. But during any crisis or disaster, Maria, a president visits the crisis or disaster where it occurs. Hurricane hits the Gulf Coast or the Carolinas. The president, regardless of party, surveys the damage on the ground and talks to people dealing with it. But when it comes to this border crisis, the president can't be bothered. His handlers, chief among them Jen Psaki, knows that a visit to the border, Maria, is a tacit acknowledgement that this is a crisis. It would dominate the news cycle, and that's the last thing that Team Biden wants. They want to pretend this is not a problem. It absolutely is, and the polling shows it.
Well, that's right. And I would go one step further, Dagen. It's not just that they refused to go to the border. How long did it take Kamala to go? And then she didn't even go to the border. She went to close to the border. But they just refused to even acknowledge it and call it a crisis. You've got 1.5 million illegals in this country this year alone. And many of them are just in the country, and they may very well not come back for a judge and a court date.
Biden and company broke something that was fixed on purpose. They have created this border crisis, this illegal immigration crisis on purpose. And so what do? They're upset with Republicans who do believe in enforcing the laws of this nation. They're upset with Republicans who stand up for the Border Patrol, overwhelmed, serving our country and enforcing the laws of this nation. This is an administration of desperation. When called out on their failure after failure after failure, all they're capable of doing is lying and vilifying people. They stood up there, Biden, Harris, Psaki, and lied about Border Patrol agents whipping people over and over again. These were individuals who were enforcing the laws of this nation, and they stood up there and they lied about them and essentially called these men racist. What do they have to say to their family members? They are husbands and fathers and sons and brothers. That's what this administration is capable of. You've seen it over and over again. It's the $5 trillion spending plan, this entitlement expansion, the biggest tax increase per GDP since the 1960s. What's that? It costs nothing. They lied about Afghanistan over and over again when essentially Biden and company have blood on their hands with 13 service members killed. So again, this is exactly what you should expect for the next 3.5 years from this administration. When caught in another failure, they're going to look at the American people and lie through their teeth.
Yeah, you forgot one lie, the Jim Crow laws, right? That's another one. The new voting laws, because you have ID, are Jim Crow laws. You can't keep up with the lies. I know, Dagen, but we didn't touch on one thing, which is really important, and that is 1 in 5 illegal immigrants are sick. Okay? And so they're not testing at the border. So how does this administration say that their priority is COVID and making sure everybody has vaccines when they've got a wide open border and they're not even testing anybody? Alejandro Mayorkas had to admit 1 in 5 illegals is coming with some kind of a sickness.
Sick people with COVID are they only deserve the ire of this administration when they're wearing red baseball caps. They will only focus on vaccinations and COVID when it fits their political agenda. Again, they go after Republican state governors, but they don't go after Democratic governors who suffer the same problems with vaccination rates and the spread of COVID. They use every crisis to their political benefit or attempted political benefit. And then when that doesn't work, they have to lie.
It's been all about optics. It absolutely has. Whatever is good in the PR statement is the way they're going to go.